People think groundhogs can climb. Well, they can. I've seen them dead. Alright, so this could get loud, alright? There's a good chance it's going to sound like a gunshot. We've been having issues with our fusing, but it could potentially be loud, so if you want to cover your ears, go ahead. Alright, so now Sammy the squirrel is going to go across the line. As you can see, the light is on at this house right here on the end. Okay, this transformer feeds this open wire secondary, which goes across, and then it goes down into your house to feed the light. Alright, now the squirrel's going to make contact. Alright, so now the fuse blew. So as you see, the fuse blew. Now the house is out of power. So at this point, now you're going to call in, say you're out of power. They're going to dispatch it to us. There will be no explosion now. But it melted. Normally when it goes off, it sounds like a gunshot. So at this point, you would call in that you're out of power. We would get dispatched. We would come out and restore. Most of the time, it's not as easy as a squirrel like this. All we would have to do is remove the squirrel, and close the fuse, and be back in power. A lot of confusion where people always get, they say, oh, a transformer blew on social media. That's anytime there's a power outage, it's a transformer. 90% of the time, it's not a transformer. It's something much worse and on a much bigger scale. Typically, a transformer will only power 1 to 10 houses. So if there's an outage bigger than that, it's a bigger issue. Okay? Flying kites next to our power lines because it can be conductive. So when Seth puts this kite string from the top of our cutout down to the bottom, you're going to see that the light will come on in the house. You see that? So that's conductive. So if he holds that there long enough because it's so small, it's probably going to burn off. So we'll see if it will or not. So it's not. So if that was dry, it would burn significantly. Okay? So the same deal. The same situation with a tree branch. That tree branch will be conductive. You see how the light's on in the house? Now it's off. Again. So if you ever see a tree on the line, don't try and distinguish if it's phone or this is simulating. Close this in. It hasn't been blowing, but it might be loud, so if you guys want to cover your ears. Alright, so you guys you're not getting the full effect today. We're having some gunpowder issues with our fusing. We use a very low fuse. It's only 1 amp. Because if we used a big fuse, it would be very loud. I'm sure some of you maybe have heard a loud boom before. Typically that's the sound. Decide or to figure out what it is. Assume that it's energized. Always assume that and be on the side of safety. Okay? So in the event that you are in a vehicle that becomes energized from a down conductor, there's a couple things you got to do. First and foremost, don't get out of the vehicle if you don't have to. If that vehicle, if it's not on fire, the tires aren't, typically what will happen is the tires will start smoking first, okay? You don't want to get out of that vehicle because technically you're insulated with the tires, okay? The only reason for you to get out of that vehicle is if the vehicle is on fire or it has to be the last case scenario until we show up and de-energize it. If you do get out of the vehicle, you're going to want to get out of the vehicle by jumping away from the vehicle as far as you can, keeping your feet together, and also cross your arms. The reason you cross your arms is when you jump, you don't accidentally grab something when you jump away from the vehicle. If you go to get out of the vehicle and you have your hand on the vehicle or your foot in the vehicle, you have a difference in potential. So now my hand is on the vehicle and now my foot is going to ground, okay? So when you do that, electricity will flow through your body and potentially be fatal. So all of us up here, that's one thing I forgot to mention. We're wearing personal protective equipment when we do this. All of these boots that we're wearing, they're called dielectric footwear. They're rated for anywhere from 10 to 15,000 volts. So when we are out working on the lines, if one of our trucks comes into contact with them, these are our last line of defense to protect us as workers on the ground. Also, Seth and Alex are wearing their rubber gloves and sleeves. They're tested at 20,000 volts, and we typically only work up to 12 in them. Okay, so wearing those together, they can actually go up and directly handle the live lines. Okay, and that'll keep them safe. So back to our car. So we have a down conductor on our car. So we've gone over how the only way we're going to get out is if the vehicle's on fire and we're going to have further injury. So we're going to jump away from the vehicle, keeping our arms crossed, our feet together, and then once we get out of the vehicle, we're going to shuffle, walk like a penguin. Okay? Again, if we take a big step, we're at a difference in potential. If you picture a bullseye, you have your 10 ring and so on and out. You need to stay in the same ring, the same gradient. If you step into a different one, that's a difference in potential, and that's when the electricity will flow through your body. Okay? So now Seth's going to demonstrate with the fireman's glove on our car door. So again, that's 7,200 volts, 7,200. He's drawing a pretty good arc with that. And that is the difference in potential because you have a ground source to our energized source. That's what would happen through your body. And as you can see, it's not going to be good. The smell of, the worst thing that they could remember when going to visit him was the smell of burnt flesh. So when George pulled that ground wire off, 19,000 volts went through his hand, through his body, and it actually talks about ladder safety. So anytime you're working on a ladder, obviously you want to see what's above you, right? So this is an aluminum ladder, and most homeowners, that's what they have. They don't have a fiberglass ladder like we have here on our truck. So anytime we're working off a ladder, it's a dielectrically tested fiberglass ladder. So again, when you're working on a ladder, you want to make sure that your overhead service to your house, any type of power line for that matter, you want to make sure you don't get that into it because you're holding a giant conductor. Okay? If you were to put that into the line, now that is going to flow down the ladder through your body and into the ground. It could be fatal. Alright? So Seth's going to demonstrate here what's going to happen if you were to touch the ladder to an energized primary. He's drawing a pretty good arc there. So you can imagine what that would do to your body. There's a good chance you're not going to walk away from it. Excavation, you're going to want to call the 811 number, and how this works is there will be a underground locator. They'll come out and locate all the utilities, and again, it's free of charge, so please do not be afraid to call it. Even if it's something as simple as putting a fence across your backyard, okay? Because if you're out there digging and you hit one of our lines, it could be fatal, okay? So you call the 811 number, they'll come out and they'll mark everything, and then you'll know where you can dig, okay? So right here we have a fireman's boot. We're going to demonstrate into our dig box, okay? So Alex energized this primary riser from this cutout. It goes to what this right here is called a terminator. That comes down, and we have it energized here in this box. That's another, some of you maybe you have underground extension to your house on primary. That's just another way that we can do things, which will feed a pad-mounted transformer like you see here in the back. So with this fireman's boot, this demonstration we're going to do, there's a lot of people that say, well, I have rubber boots on. Okay, you do have rubber boots on, but they're probably not like our rubber boots where they're dielectrically tested. Not only that, it can take the smallest pinhole for that to leak into the boot. And especially with firemen, 90% of the time your boots are wet. You're fighting a fire, okay? So Seth's going to do a demonstration with the fire boot in the big box. So just imagine if you were out and you stepped on, if you were to step on an energized conductor, or if you were excavating and you found exposed a cable and you got down and started to monkey with it, again, this is what can happen to you. That was a pretty good one. So that wooden stake also can be a conductor and draw current through the stake, right? So that's going to demonstrate we're digging in and hitting the primary conductor. Cut down your nice road flow, okay? It's happening. Let's see here. Meters. Anytime, you see there's a meter out down here on the end on the house. There's also one on this house. If you're not a licensed electrician, don't pull the meter, okay? Call us. We've actually been sent out multiple times. I've had it happen numerous. I don't even know how many times. You look at everything, you inspect it to make sure it's good before you pull it, and when you do, a lug breaks. Next thing you know, you got a ball of fire in front of you. You look like a bear swatting at a beehive because it can get kind of crazy at times. So again, don't ever pull meters unless you're a certified electrician. And then I just have some talking points here for first responders, if there's any first responders in here. Substation entry and fires. Our big substations, if there's a fire, call us. Don't try and go in there and put it out. Don't spray it with a hose. You're not going to put it out. The only way it's going to get put out is if it's de-energized, whether we operate it or if our switches that we have in place will open automatically. You will not put it out. I remember probably 10 years ago we were over in East Troy and we opened our 115 switch and the one blade didn't open, and we literally sat there and watched it for 15 minutes until it burned to the point where it burned out. So do not ever try to go in a substation, especially, I see it, like I said, there's a lot of kids here in the crowd. Do not play near them, stay away from them. Another thing that, I have small children here, and I think they're here somewhere, but anyway. So, over there at that pole, you see those yellow guy markers. This just drives me nuts. I'll see kids grabbing them and flinging them up, okay? Just to see how high they can get them. I've seen it a dozen times. Don't be playing with those, okay? Anything that's on that pole could become energized. It's not a void. Stay away from it, okay? And then some closing points here. So you guys saw what an electrical arc is and how dangerous it is. The thing with electricity is you can't see it, you can't smell it, and you can't hear it until it's something bad. When you hear it, something bad happens, okay? So just keep that in mind. Again, I can't emphasize any type of wire that you see down, stay away from it. Kids, stay away from it. Go get your mom, get your dad, an adult. You gotta get back from it. The only thing that you could do would be maybe to sit on it, stay with, no closer than 30 feet, so maybe you could keep, another bystander coming by and they don't walk into it. Mark it with cones, anything like that. And then, or call 911, and then we have a lot of our first responders that come out and sit on it. So, are there any questions? Any questions for any of us that you can think of?